Barstool Sports.
He'll just yell something in his EDP like twang, like F this, like in the middle, and everyone's like, what?
So many know them mainly because of their leader and founder, Dave Portnoy.
You posted the following on your site. I never condone rape, but if you're a size 6 and you're wearing skinny jeans, you kind of deserve to be raped.
Correct. I stand by that. I think it's a funny joke.
But it's not just him.
Kaepernick not standing for the national anthem has become a huge story. When I heard this story, I didn't read it. I didn't know why he was saying there. I was like, oh, he's an ISIS guy. Like, that was my original thought.
It's the co-hosts as well.
It just seems like Colin Kaepernick is like, maybe it's because he's not really that black.
He does look like a terrorist.
It's a company with a history. No doubt about it. At one point, they launched a podcast with black co-hosts with a title that spelled out the N-word. The title was, pay attention if you wish, Now It's Gonna Get Extremely Real. The New York Times' Ested Herndon would tweet, and here's what it said: "This is absolutely corny and embarrassing," which it was.
Hey, Prez, you're sellout. You're sellout. Hey, Prez, you sold out. Whereas the kids say, no doy. No doy I sold out. You're just figuring that out? I started a company, and I sold it the out.
To be fair, there have been some riveting interviews on this network from athletes and many in the sports world. Credit where it's due. However,
is there a bigger hypocritical scumbag in the league than Jacob Trouba?
On the network's hockey show, Spittin Chiclets, one host went after the Rangers' Jacob Trouba. Here is the first part of that quote, one of two. First of all, Trouba sucks at hockey. Whenever he is in the defensive zone, he runs around like a lost puppy. He just sees the puck and he chases it. If he didn't have that C and that contract, he wouldn't be playing. If I was head coach Peter Laviolette, I would rip that C off Trouba's chest and stick it on Vincent Trocheck right now, because he is the heart and soul of that New York Rangers team. If the Rangers and their fans knew anything about hockey, they would have been praying Trouba got suspended for that hit, the Rodriguez hit, just to get him out of the lineup. He's that bad. Before showing the next part of this quote, okay, let me just go over the following. Jacob Trouba would win the Mark Messier NHL Leadership Award, which, per NHL.com, is presented annually to the player who exemplifies great leadership qualities to his team on and off the ice, and who plays a leading role in his community, growing the game of hockey. The piece off the league's official website would continue in their write-up. Trouba and his wife, Dr. Kelly Tyson Trouba, founded the Trouba Creative Expressions Art Program, which offers art services to adults with epilepsy and seizures through the Epilepsy Foundation of Metropolitan New York. Through the program, Trouba creates artwork, which he auctions off by wearing his hockey equipment covered in paint and striking a canvas. More from this write-up. Trouba also works with the Garden of Dreams Foundation, which is committed to bringing life-changing opportunities to young people facing illness, financial challenges, or dealing with the death or injury of a family member in uniform. At the end of last season, Trouba presented Isaiah Marquez Green, a survivor of the 2012 Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting in the state of Connecticut, who lost his sister in the tragedy, with a scholarship to help fund law school. Trouba has helped raise more than $160,000 for his own foundation and the Garden of Dreams Foundation. In addition, Trouba is involved in the NHL and NHLPA's joint Hockey Fights Cancer initiative and starred with his mother, Christy, in AstraZeneca's Get Body Checked Against Cancer campaign, which encourages fans to talk to their doctors and get regular screenings. So it is quite clear. Jacob Trouba is trying to make a difference. He is using his platform for the greater good. He clearly views himself as a vehicle to uplift others. These are things that athletes don't have to do. but he is. Now, with that being said, here is what a part-time host on Spittin Chiclets would say. And then we have the reaction. One of the reasons in the article that he won it says Trouba and his wife founded the Trouba Creative Expressions Art Program, which offers art services to adults with epilepsy and seizures. Well, you want to know the irony of the situation? Trouba's wife is a neuroscience major. Maybe Jacob should go home and get a lesson from his wife about the dangers of concussions that can lead to epilepsy and seizures before he goes around concussing guys on a daily basis, being the dirtiest player in the league. It's like, okay, you want to embrace the scumbag role, fine. But the fact that they are parading him around as some sort of humanitarian is a joke. His agent of PR person should get a major raise for that. All right. When you get involved in this business, you develop personal relationships with athletes, and you see a different side that many don't. You understand that they are people too. That they have feelings like you and I. No one likes being ridiculed. No one likes having their name dragged through the mud. And there are so many things that the public does not know or learn about these athletes. And I do believe that there is a shift going on in the last, I would say, decade or so, where athletes have taken their power back because, let's call a spade a spade. Previously in this industry, it was the media that had all the control. And the players would greatly appreciate being given that opportunity to be interviewed in order to humanize themselves to fans, to the public. And what we are seeing right here is a boundary that is being crossed, a line that is being crossed, which is bringing family into it, bringing his wife into it, and making the connection that because of who she is, he is not deserving of any award whatsoever, should not be praised for doing things that are a net positive on society, that are a net positive on many citizens within the country as well, and even locally. This is distasteful. And credit where it's due once again. Paul Bissonnette and Ryan Whitney would check the part-time host. And I'll get into that in a moment, actually. There is one person who saw this horrendous video being circulated that has over 1 million views on Twitter. And that person was Jacob Trouba. And he would tweet, "Unaliving rates have doubled in the past 20 years in U.S. college athletes. A PGA Tour golfer tragically took his own life after a mental health battle, and people asked how that was possible. We must do better than this." Indeed. I would then learn that this part-time host is a mega fan of the New Jersey Devils. Another part of the problem. There is a way of talking about your rivals. It's not like this. Now, as I alluded to, credit where it's due. Whitney and Bissonnette would check this guy. And he would say at one point, for the fact of a videographer who's the part-time host, coming on a podcast and talking about an NHL player who has played as long as Jacob Trouba, a captain in the National Hockey League, you are a effing clown, Pasha. That's the dude's name. Whitney would then say, I don't know if you could question his leadership, man. I've never heard a bad word about him in the room and being the captain of the team off the ice. I will say, though, like bringing the wife into it, while he didn't say anything bad, he was talking about Trouba and mentioned what she does for a living and how it's ironic with his headshots, but by bringing the wife into the clip, I think if Trouba saw him, he'd sucker punch him. I don't think he would. I think Jacob Trouba would probably take the high road, but Ryan Whitney would certainly know better than I And this via New York Rangers Hockey Insider. Biz did not hold back on his disgust and downright anger towards the guy as he gave him a piece of his mind of what was said regarding Trouba as a person, the leadership Trouba holds in the dressing room, and even bringing Trouba's wife into the conversation. Again, I think it is foul and vile. Painting is my outlet, Trouba tweet. For the next 30 days, proceeds from 24-inch print sales will be donated to Athletes for Hope. So this is an example of an athlete laying it all out there. I understand that there are dirty plays in hockey. Unfortunately, it is part of the game. Hate it. Despise it. But guys are just going to do it. And for it to get this personal rubs me the wrong way. I appreciate Biz and Whitney doing their thing. And I think this shows Jacob Trouba's character because he did not address the part-time host. He did not go after that man as a person. He instead said, let's turn a negative into a positive. Kudos to him.